We got a wonderful behr paint color review with a beautiful rich taupe alongside an entire color palette that I put together for it. So not only are you going to know a lot about this color, but you'll also be equipped with a few other paint colors to put together a wonderful color scheme for your home. You can't make a good fire without some kindling, am I right? I miss camping. Camping's underrated, I feel. So today we're talking about a neutral paint color, but not your typical off-white grayish that is much lighter in comparison. Kindling is a very deep color that could be put into accent color territory where you might need to be mindful about the lighting where you're using it, especially inside your home, because dark colors don't really do a good job at reflecting much light. And if you didn't know, colors that reflect more light will appear lighter and brighter in person. And kindling, according to behr's website, only reflects 17% of the light that hits it, which means if you're using it, you're intentionally wanting a dark and rich color. If you like dark spaces, kind of like me in my office / studio, so official, then we're going in the right direction here with kindling. So what's interesting here is behr paint on their website, for every paint color, they'll have a bunch of other similar paint colors listed alongside them just down below. And when you're looking at the colors listed here, I do see a lot of gold undertones, a lot of orange. And although brown is pretty much a dark version of orange, I find kindling to be much more of a brown and gray combination exclusively. It's a very balanced feeling taupe, and it doesn't feel overly towards the cooler green side of things or a more rich kind of soil red direction. Although if I had to pick one over the other, I will say it does favor red ever so slightly based on my experience. And I think this is a good thing because it puts it in my fun made-up color category called grouge, which of course is those rougey or reddy grays that are pretty fun and unique. I think kindling's ideal use for me inside would be on things like furniture, maybe darker kitchen cabinets on the lower half, for example. You can also use them on walls, but that's more of a limited use case for me. Maybe if you put it in your mudroom so you can camouflage any mud your kids kick up. But seriously, I mean, you could put it in your living room or dining room, especially if you have a nice big bay window to really allow the natural light to enhance the color's undertones. That's kind of best case for me. You could also use it as an accent wall color, but to be honest, I see less and less enthusiasm for accent walls these days, especially when they're just done indiscriminately. I could go on an accent wall tangent, but maybe I'll save that for another video. I think this color really shines, to be honest, outside as an exterior color. Whether you use it as a main body color on painted brick or on siding or stucco, or as a darker trim color for a more light main body color along the same lines undertone wise. But the best part of this video is upon us, because I'm going to reveal my 100% free color palette based around kindling. And if this was in person, honestly, it would cost you, believe me. I do accept tips, and the best tip is press the like button and a subscribe for more content. I just tried to wink and I was like, is this sexy? The first color I want to go with would be Dove. Purely for the fact it's a much lighter version of kindling within that same sort of taupey gray brown family of paint colors. Depending on the lighting, Dove can almost look as bright as an off-white, even though it's a 66 out of 100 on the lightness scale. This is a much more reasonable color to use on your walls, whether you have tons of lighting or not. Sentimental Beige is the second color, and it just has such a nice, cute name. That's why I picked it. But I also picked it because it's just a touch lighter than Dove, but instead of having gray and brown mixed together, this is more of a true soft beige color, bringing some warm elements, but still fitting in within the neutral color palette itself. Midnight Blue is definitely the accent color here. And that's saying something because kindling is pretty dark, right? So Midnight Blue as a color just does a great job at being very self-explanatory, where essentially you have a combination of navy blue with some slate gray or a little bit of black in it to make it feel a bit more moody and dramatic. I love these colors in conjunction with one another. I think Midnight Blue will really pop off of the two other light colors, but also kindling, because even though they're both really dark, they're so different color-wise. And really you can't go wrong with any combination of navy, beige, and brown. Classic. Most importantly, we want to talk about some trim and woodwork colors because you need to know what to paint your baseboards and your doors and your trims. You can't just leave them. I always think a pure stark white option is great for baseboards, but cameo white is the more personalized white trim option because it's cut from the same cloth as kindling, where it seems to have the slightest hint of gray brown, or what I like to call a taupey quality, giving it some softness that I really appreciate. For a darker trim color, I didn't want to go darker than kindling, so I sort of split the difference and found graceful gray as a mid-tone trim option. And this is the one that will sort of sit between the dark and the light colors in the rest of this palette, which means in any case, you will see contrast between your walls and your baseboards. And I think that's important. And the colors themselves will just pop pretty nicely. Here's the palette all together, Behr paint fans. Let me know what you think. And we got more videos for my Behr paint fans and my paint color fans in general.